Yes, folks, the left are always deceitful. They lie and cheat at every opportunity. And they do this simply because they can't win through democracy. They brainwash children in schools because they can't win through democracy. They propagandize lies through the media because they can't win with the truth. And the double-think left-wing media are the biggest cheats. Take the ABC in America, for example. They withheld a vital story about pedophile Jeffrey Epstein because it would have affected their bottom line. And I will cover that story in a moment, but first, let's see how the left are cheating Australians through their ABC.
Last night, the ABC broadcast its most disgraceful show yet, probably its most dangerous too. I'm talking about the ABC's Q&A, which once again was completely stacked with activists of the left, including host Fran Kelly herself, although that kind of bias is no longer unusual there. The ABC's given up even pretending to be balanced, even though it's meant to be that by law, being a national broadcaster that's funded by taxpayers like you.
Yes, the taxpayers funding the ABC over $1 billion a year so that some radical feminist can spew out hate and violence towards them.
And nor is it unusual for the ABC anymore to preach the kind of barbaric us against them identity politics that turns us into warring tribes. I mean, just take this utterly bizarre example from last night from an ABC favourite, Mona Alawi, an Egyptian-American journalist who was furious with former US President Barack Obama for calling for a more civil debate from the left.
You know, this idea of respectability, this idea of civility, this idea of unity, all of these words, decorum, who invented those words? Those words were invented by white men for the benefit of other white men.
Yes, let's hate white men.
In systems and institutions that were always designed to be for white men. And so those who abide by the system, and Barack Obama was part of the system and remains part of the system. I also disagree with his wife when she says when they go low, we go high. No, I don't. If you go low, I'm going to come for you.
Yeah, women have never invented good manners. Hear it from the feminist herself. I've censored the foul language. The ABC last night didn't. Because, as I say, we're sliding to barbarity with the ABC pushing that slide right along. But last night, Q&A then got much, much worse. 4 of the panellists, 4, then defended political violence in their cause. In fact, 2 seemed to call for it, to incite it. And no one on that show, no one, including the host, said no. This obscenity started with this leading question from the audience, which was pre-selected by the show's producers.
When trying to bring about significant change, when is aggression and violence a better option than assertiveness, strong arguments and modelling the behaviour you expect of others?
Ashton? When none of that other stuff works. There are many causes where people have resorted to violence as a way to finally break through and get heard and achieve what we need. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
Okay, that's one panellist defending political violence. Here's a second, apparently even recommending murder.
How many rapists must we kill? Not the state, because I disagree with the death penalty, and I want to get rid of incarceration, and I'm
so let's let murderers and rapists walk free.
with you on the police. So I want women themselves. As a woman, I'm asking, how many rapists must we kill until men stop raping us?
So she's definitely inciting violence there.
Okay, and here's a third panellist, appearing to defend past violence by activists.
I think if anyone's shocked by what Mona's suggesting, you just have to look back to history and a certain faction of the suffragettes in the early 20th century, they used violence.
And if that's not incredible enough, the ABC actually managed to find a 4th panellist for the show who also defended political violence. That's not quite right. In fact, she actually welcomed it, recommended it, maybe even excited it, seems to me. Here's Nayuka Gori, a race-based activist who identifies as Aboriginal.
We live in a colony Like, I cannot, we've tried for 230 plus years to appeal to the colonisers' morality, which just doesn't seem to exist. So I think violence, I think violence is okay.
Violence is okay?
Because, like, if someone's trying to kill you, you know, there's no amount of, oh, but I'm really clever, you know, I'm really articulate. No amount of that is going to save you. So,
It's a tricky...
let's burn stuff.
Oh, let's burn stuff.
Burn stuff, okay. And how did the ABC host Fran Kelly, who's an activist herself, respond to these women who are defending violence, condoning murder, and calling on people to burn stuff? Well, like this.
I think that's a really good moment to go to our next question. You're watching a special broadside edition of Q&A.
Not a word of criticism. We are looking here at this one show at various things I've talked about, all coming together. This one moment on the ABC. A lack of historical knowledge, you know, white society's only bad, black society's only good. Then there was a lack of civility, that's there too. The rise of tribalism, that was right there. This us against them thinking that makes it so much easier to hate people and destroy them. And, of course, there was that overwhelmingly leftist bias in our national broadcaster, a bias so severe that the ABC could pick 4 panellists on one show freely defending political violence against our society and describing our society as vicious and racist and women-hating and murderous and God knows what. And this is happening, I should point out, under a Liberal government. They've totally lost the plot.
Yes, Scott Morrison has lost the plot.
Now, I'm for free speech. I do not want these women banned or jailed or anything like that, or dragged before a tribunal, as they'd probably drag me before a tribunal. But I certainly do not want these barbarians, these haters, these defenders of violence, I do not want them given a platform, an unchallenged platform, on a national broadcaster that I must pay for by law. The Morrison government here is subsidising hate and calls for violence.
Exactly.
By giving $1 billion a year to a broadcaster that broadcasts that. And it's not for the first time that the ABC does this. Not for the first time. There's a pattern coming here. Remember this, again from the ABC, just 6 months ago. This time the hater is ABC scriptwriter and actress Nakia Liu.
Sovereignty was never ceded! Come on, babe. Let's go to Sunrise and f*** this up! Okay! F*** a birth! F*** Whitey! Shit! On your colonisation. Oh, f*** it. F*** it. Burn this place to the ground!
Ah, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And the taxpayer is funding that. And now to America's ABC and their doublethink cover-up.
So this week, renewed interest in whether serial pedophile Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in prison or whether he was offed by somebody who wanted him dead. A lot of people may fall into that category, given the number of high-profile people who partied with and may have partaken in his obsession with underage girls who say that they were sex slaves in his bizarre world. Then this video surfaces from Project Veritas in which ABC anchor Amy Robach says that ABC, quote, quashed her exclusive with Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre, who said that she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17. Fox News is not able to independently verify this following video.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. we were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story.
Yeah, so the interviews with Kate and Will were more important than the child rape victims. Cheating, left-wing, doublethink.
She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Do I think he was killed? 100%.
Yes, and I agree there. Yeah, have a look at this.
A shocking update in the death of Jeffrey Epstein, a famous forensic pathologist who observed the autopsy, telling Fox and Friends in an exclusive interview this morning that official reports characterizing Epstein's death as a suicide may not be accurate. Watch.
There are multiple 3 fractures in the hyoid bone, the thyroid cartilage, that are very unusual for suicide and more indicative of strangulation, homicidal strangulation.
Dr. Michael Bodden now also says he wants an additional DNA testing session. Let's bring in Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. So, Judge, what happens if this was a homicide? I mean, it reopens the case and there's a search for a suspect, right?
Well, theoretically, the federal government the FBI is investigating this because some of the things Dr. Bodden points out, which have nothing to do with the autopsy, are very peculiar. 2 video cameras not working. A cellmate mysteriously reassigned the day before Epstein's death. 2 guards, not 1, 2 guards guarding that area, both asleep at the time. This is a bizarre series of coincidences. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. But Michael Bodden is one of the most highly regarded pathologists in the world. He has testified before me, which is how I met him. He's a superstar. It's mysterious to me why this is coming out now, 75 days after he made the observation that I'm putting my fingers on my neck as he did. He made the observation that you just described in the clip that you ran of these mysterious broken bones, which he says could not happen by suicide. The DNA
By the way, we're looking
testing,
at photos of this.
Right. The DNA.
And besides that, lots of prominent people, including Bill Clinton, may have wanted him dead. But folks, I'm not 100% convinced about that video. It seemed too perfect. To be mic'd. The ABC could have even staged that themselves for some reason.